Being reliable makes you invisible. I lived in the basement of my parents' house in suburban Ohio, not because I could not afford my own place. I earned $87,000 a year as a financial analyst for a mid-size investment firm. I could have rented a nice apartment downtown, maybe even bought a small condo. But I stayed in that basement with the low ceilings and the narrow window that only showed grass and the neighbor's fence. I told myself it was temporary. That was 6 years ago. My younger brother Kevin was 23. He graduated from Ohio State with a business degree last spring. He lived in the upstairs guest room with the ensuite bathroom and the large windows that got morning light. He did not pay rent. He did not pay for groceries. He drove mom's car whenever he wanted. He had been that way since we were kids. Kevin was the golden child. That term gets thrown around a lot, but in our house it was not just a phrase, it was a lifestyle. When Kevin wanted a new PlayStation, Dad bought it the same week. When I wanted a used bike at 14, they told me to save my allowance. When Kevin crashed Mom's car at 19, they fixed it and told him accidents happen. When I dented the garage door at 17, backing out too fast, I paid for the repair out of my summer job money. The pattern was clear. It had been clear my entire life. I did not complain. Complaining made things worse. It turned you into the difficult one, the bitter one, the son who could not be happy for his brother. So I smiled. I showed up to family dinners. I asked Kevin about his classes, his internship applications, his plans. I played my role. And quietly, for the past 6 years, I paid the bills that kept this house running. It started small. 4 years into my job, Dad mentioned the mortgage was getting tight. Interest rates had climbed. The payment jumped from $1,800 to $2,400 a month. Mom's part-time work at the library barely covered groceries. Dad's salary as a middle school teacher was decent but stretched thin. I offered to help, just temporarily, until things stabilized. They accepted without much discussion. I set up an automatic transfer. Every month, $2,400 left my account and covered the mortgage. They never asked how long I planned to keep it up. I never brought it up. Then the electric bill became an issue. The house was old. The insulation was poor. In summer, the AC ran constantly. In winter, the heating costs spiked. The monthly electric bill hovered around $340, sometimes more. Mom mentioned it once over dinner, sighing about how ridiculous the utility companies were. I added it to my automatic payments. The water bill followed. Then the quarterly property tax installments, $8,500 twice a year. I handled those too. I kept spreadsheets. I tracked every payment in a password-protected file on my laptop. I knew exactly how much I had given. Over 6 years, I calculated I had paid $340 in total. That included mortgage payments, utilities, and property taxes. It did not include the times I bought groceries, filled up Mom's car with gas, or paid for family dinners when Dad forgot his wallet. I never mentioned the amount to anyone. Not to my parents. Not to Kevin. Not even to my college friend Marcus when we met for drinks and he asked why I still lived at home. I told him rent was cheap. He laughed and said I was smart. I was not smart. I was stuck. But I did not know how to leave without the house collapsing. Literally. So I stayed in the basement. I paid the bills. I watched Kevin coast through college without a care. I became the dependable one, the son who would always be there, the backup plan, the invisible provider. Mom used to say I was low maintenance, that I never asked for much. She said it like it was a compliment, like being forgotten was a virtue. I believed her. For a long time I believed her. I thought that was what family did. The graduation party was held in our backyard on a Saturday in late May. The weather was perfect. Sunny, 75 degrees, light breeze. Mom had rented tables and chairs. Dad grilled burgers and hot dogs. About 40 people showed up. Extended family, neighbors, Kevin's college friends. I helped set up that morning. I carried tables from the rental truck. I arranged chairs in rows. I hung a banner that said, "Congratulations, Kevin," in blue and gold. Ohio State colors. Kevin walked around in a pressed button-down shirt, shaking hands, hugging aunts and uncles. He looked confident, happy. He had every reason to be. I stood near the grill, flipping burgers when Dad got distracted talking to Uncle Ron. I wore a plain gray t-shirt and jeans. No one noticed me much. That was normal. Around 3 p.m., Mom clinked a glass to get everyone's attention. The backyard went quiet. She stood near the patio with Dad beside her. Kevin stood in front of them, grinning. Mom's voice was shaky with emotion. "We are so incredibly proud of Kevin. He worked so hard these past 4 years. He balanced school, internships, and his social life. He graduated with honors. He is everything we hoped he would be." Dad nodded. "Kevin, you have earned this. You have shown us what dedication looks like." I watched from the side. I felt something tighten in my chest. It was not anger, not yet, just a dull, familiar ache. Then Uncle Ron wheeled something into the backyard. A brand new SUV, Honda Pilot, metallic blue. A massive red bow sat on the hood. The crowd gasped. People clapped. Kevin's jaw dropped. He turned to Mom and Dad, his eyes wide. Mom was crying. "This is for you, sweetheart. You have earned this." Kevin hugged them both. He walked to the car, ran his hand over the hood. He looked back at the crowd. "This is insane. Thank you. Thank you so much." People swarmed him. His friends took photos. Aunts and uncles patted him on the back. Someone asked how much it cost. Dad said $42,000, but it was worth every penny. I stood there holding a spatula. I felt like I was watching a movie, a scene I was not part of. Mom noticed me eventually. She walked over, smiling. "Nathan, honey, we have something for you too." I blinked. I had not expected anything. My college graduation 6 years ago had been a small dinner at Olive Garden. No party, no gifts beyond a card with $50 inside. She handed me an envelope. It was white, standard size. My name was written on the front in her handwriting. I opened it. Inside was a $25 gas station gift card. I stared at it. I waited for more. Maybe there was a joke. Maybe this was the warm-up to something bigger. Mom smiled. "We know you are not materialistic like your generation. You do not care about flashy things. You are practical, responsible. This is something you will actually use." Dad walked over. "You have always been low maintenance, Nate. We appreciate that about you. You do not need us to make a big deal out of things." I looked at the gift card. $25. I spent more than that on lunch twice a week. Kevin drove by in his new SUV, music blasting, friends cheering in the back seat. The engine purred. The paint gleamed in the sunlight. Mom patted my shoulder. "You understand, right? Kevin needed this. He is just starting out. You have been working for years. You are fine." I nodded. I did not trust my voice. I folded the envelope and put it in my pocket. "Thanks, Mom." She smiled, relieved. She walked back to the crowd. I stood there for another 10 minutes. I watched Kevin pose for photos in front of his $42,000 graduation gift. I watched people congratulate him. I watched Dad grill another round of burgers, laughing with neighbors. No one looked at me. No one asked if I was okay. No one seemed to notice I had gone completely still. I walked inside. I went down to the basement. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the envelope in my hand. $25, 6 years of payments, over $200,000, and I got a $25 gas card and a speech about not being materialistic. I did not cry. I did not yell. I did not throw anything. I just sat there, holding the envelope, feeling the weight of being invisible finally crush me. I sat on my bed for 2 hours. The party sounds filtered down through the ceiling. Laughter, music, the clink of bottles. Kevin's voice, loud and happy, telling some story I could not quite hear. I looked around my basement room. The walls were unfinished drywall, painted beige years ago. The carpet was worn and stained in places. The ceiling was low enough that I had hit my head on the support beam more than once. The single window barely let in light. This was my space. For 6 years. Upstairs, Kevin had a guest room with a queen bed, a desk, a closet twice the size of mine. He had a private bathroom. He had windows that showed the backyard and the trees beyond the fence. I paid for that house. Every month. For 6 years. And I got a $25 gas card. I did not feel angry. Not in the sharp, hot way anger usually feels. I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out my insides and left only the shell. I thought about all the times I covered bills. The winter, the heating system almost broke, and I paid $200 for emergency repairs. The summer, Dad needed new tires, and I bought them without being asked. The Thanksgiving, I funded the entire dinner because Mom's hours got cut at the library. I thought about Kevin's college tuition. Mom and Dad had taken out loans, but I knew they struggled with payments. I wondered how many times my mortgage payments freed up money for Kevin's expenses. I thought about my own college loans. I paid those off 2 years ago, alone. I never asked for help. I never expected it. I stood up. I walked to my closet and pulled out 2 large duffel bags. I started packing. I moved methodically. Clothes, toiletries, laptop, chargers, the shoebox with my important documents, birth certificate, social security card, tax returns. I packed my bedding. I took the framed photo of my college graduation, the one where I stood alone because my parents could not make the 3-hour drive that weekend. Kevin had a baseball game. I packed everything that mattered. It fit into 3 bags and 2 boxes. I sat back down. I opened my laptop. I logged into my bank account. I pulled up the automatic payments: mortgage, electric, water, property tax reminders. My finger hovered over the cancel button. I thought about what would happen. The mortgage payment was due in 5 days. If I canceled it tonight, the bank would reject the charge. Mom and Dad would get a notice. They would panic. They would call me. I hesitated. Then I remembered Mom's face when she handed me the envelope. The smile, the casual tone, like $25 was generous, like I should be grateful. I clicked cancel on the mortgage payment, then the electric bill autopay, then the water. I did not touch the property tax. That was not due for another 3 months. I closed the laptop. I looked at my phone. No texts, no missed calls. The party was still going upstairs. I stood up. I grabbed my bags. I carried them to my car, a 10-year-old Honda Accord parked on the street. I made 3 trips. No one came downstairs. No one noticed. It was 11 p.m. when I finished loading my car. I stood in the basement one last time. I did not leave a note. I did not say goodbye. I walked out the side door. I got in my car. I started the engine. I drove to a budget hotel 10 miles away. I checked in using my credit card. The clerk did not ask questions. I carried my bags to a second-floor room with a double bed and a window that looked out at the parking lot. I set my bags down. I sat on the bed. I stared at the wall. And for the first time in 6 years, I felt like I could breathe. I stayed at the hotel for 3 days. I called in sick to work Monday and Tuesday. I told my boss I had food poisoning. He did not ask for details. I spent those days on my laptop. I made lists. I reviewed spreadsheets. I calculated exactly how much I had given over 6 years, $200 $340. That number sat on my screen like an accusation. I broke it down further. Mortgage payments, $172,800. Utilities, $19,140. Property taxes, $8,500. Miscellaneous, $600, covering things like emergency repairs and random expenses I could not quite categorize. I had records of everything: bank statements, transfer confirmations, screenshots of payment receipts. I saved them all in a folder labeled House Expenses. I did not know why I was keeping records. Maybe I always suspected I would need them. On Wednesday morning, my phone rang. It was Mom. I stared at the screen. I let it ring 4 times before answering. "Hello." Mom's voice was tight. "Nathan, where are you? Your car is gone. Your room is empty." "I moved out." There was a pause. "Moved out? What do you mean? You did not say anything." "I found an apartment. I am staying there now." Another pause. "You could have told us. We were worried." I did not respond to that. I waited. She shifted topics. "Nate, there is a problem with the mortgage. The bank called. The payment bounced. Do you know anything about that?" "I canceled the automatic payment." Silence. Then her voice went higher. "You canceled it? Why would you do that?" "Because I am not paying it anymore," she stammered. "But we need that payment. We cannot cover it ourselves. You know that." "I know." "Nathan, this is not funny. You cannot just stop. We will lose the house." "You should have thought about that before giving Kevin a $42,000 car and handing me a $25 gas card." She went silent. "That is what this is about? The graduation gift?" "This is about 6 years of paying your mortgage while being treated like I do not exist." She tried to recover. "You never said you had a problem with it. You offered to help." "I did. And you took advantage of that. Her voice turned cold. We did not take advantage. You are family. Family helps each other. Then Kevin can help. He has a nice new car. Maybe he can sell it and cover a few months. She gasped. You cannot. Be serious. I am completely serious. Nathan, you are being selfish. Your father and I are not young. We cannot handle this kind of stress. You will figure it out. You are going to let us lose our home because you are upset about a car? I am not letting you do anything. I am stopping myself from being used. She started crying. I cannot believe you are doing this. After everything we have done for you. I almost laughed. Almost. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something else. Relief, maybe. Or power. 3 minutes later, Dad called. I did not answer. Kevin called an hour after that. I let it go to voicemail. Dude, what is going on? Mom is freaking out. Call me back. I deleted the voicemail. I went to a coffee shop down the street. I ordered a black coffee. I sat by the window and watched cars go by. For the first time in 6 years, I felt in control. On Friday, I drove back to the house. Not because I wanted to reconcile, because I needed to collect my mail and a few things I had forgotten in the basement. I parked on the street. I walked up the driveway. Kevin's new SUV was parked in the garage. The sight of it made my jaw tighten. Before I reached the door, it swung open. Dad stood there. His face was red. His arms were crossed. Get inside, now. I did not move. I am just here to get my mail. You are coming inside. We need to talk. I walked past him into the living room. Mom sat on the couch. Her eyes were puffy. Kevin stood by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, looking confused. Dad closed the door. What the hell do you think you are doing? I am living my own life. You are abandoning your family. I am stopping payments. That is not abandoning anyone. Mom stood up. Nathan, we are 3 days behind on the mortgage. The bank is already calling. Do you understand what that means? Yes. It means you need to make the payment. Dad's voice rose. We cannot afford it. You know that. You afforded a $42,000 car for Kevin. Kevin finally spoke. Dude, that is not fair. They saved for that. I turned to him. Did they? Or did they use the mortgage money I have been paying for 6 years? Kevin blinked. He looked at Dad. What is he talking about? Dad waved his hand. That is not relevant. I laughed. It came out bitter. Not relevant. Right. Mom stepped forward. Nathan, you are being cruel. You know your father and I work hard. We have done everything we can for you and your brother. Everything except treat me like I matter. She flinched. That is not true. I pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app. I turned the screen toward them. Over 6 years, I paid $340 for this house. Mortgage, utilities, taxes. I have the records. The room went silent. Dad stared at the screen. We never asked you to keep track. I kept track because I knew you would not. Mom's voice broke. We thought you were happy to help. I was not happy. I was used. Kevin looked uncomfortable. Nate, I did not know you were paying that much. I turned to him. Would it have changed anything? He did not answer. Dad tried a different approach. He softened his voice. Son, we can work this out. You are upset. I get it. But you cannot just walk away. This house is your home too. This house was never my home. It was a place I paid rent to sleep in a basement. Mom gasped. How can you say that? Because it is true. Dad's face hardened again. Fine. If that is how you feel, then do not come back. I was not planning to. Mom started crying again. You're going to regret this. I looked at her. The only thing I regret is waiting this long. I walked to the basement door. I grabbed my mail from the small table. I took the last box of my things. Kevin followed me to the door. Nate, come on, do not do this. I stopped. I looked at him. Enjoy the car, Kevin. I walked out. I heard Dad yelling something behind me. I did not turn around. I got in my car. I drove away. I did not look back. I rented a 1-bedroom apartment in a complex 15 miles from the house. It was small but clean. Laminate floors, white walls, a kitchenette with a 2-burner stove. A bathroom with a shower that actually had good water pressure. It was mine. Fully mine. I paid the deposit and first month's rent out of my savings. I set up my furniture, a bed, a desk, a small couch I bought used from Facebook Marketplace. I did not need much. The apartment felt quiet, peaceful. No one was upstairs making noise. No one was asking me for anything. For the first week, I ignored my phone. Mom called 6 times. Dad called 4. Kevin sent 3 long text messages asking me to reconsider. I did not respond. Instead, I organized my evidence. I sat at my desk with my laptop open and a stack of printed documents beside me. I created a master spreadsheet. I listed every payment I had made over 6 years, dates, amounts, confirmation numbers. I pulled bank statements going back 72 months. I highlighted every transfer to the mortgage company, every utility payment, every property tax installment. I created a summary page. Total contributions, $200,340 broken down by category, color-coded by year, professional, undeniable. I did not know what I planned to do with the information, but I wanted it ready. On Tuesday, 10 days after the graduation party, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost did not answer. Then curiosity won. A woman's voice. "Hello, is this Nathan Callahan?" "Yes. This is Jennifer from First National Bank. I am calling about the property at 482 Maplewood Drive. Are you the account holder for the mortgage payments?" I paused. I was. I am no longer making payments. "I see. We show that the last payment was missed, and the current payment is also overdue. The account is now 28 days past due. Do you know who will be covering the payments going forward?" "The homeowners, David and Linda Callahan. We have tried reaching them. They stated you were handling payments. Can you confirm you are no longer involved?" "That is correct," she sighed. "Understood. We will proceed with our collections process. Thank you for clarifying." She hung up. I sat there. I felt a flicker of something. Not guilt, not quite satisfaction either. Just clarity. The next day I got a text from Kevin. "The electric company is threatening to shut off power. Mom is panicking. Can you please just talk to them?" I did not reply. 2 days later, another text. "Dude, seriously, the water bill is overdue too. What are you doing?" I turned off notifications from my family. I went to work. I did my job. I came home. I cooked simple meals. I watched TV. I read. I went to the gym. Life was strangely normal, calm. On Friday, 3 weeks after I left, I got an email. It was from the county assessor's office, a reminder that the fall property tax installment was due in 45 days. I deleted it. That night, I opened a beer and sat on my small balcony. The view was nothing special. A parking lot, a fence, some trees in the distance, but it was mine. I thought about the house. I imagined Mom and Dad scrambling to cover bills. I imagined Kevin realizing his car payment might be at risk if they needed his help. I imagined the slow, creeping panic as the notices piled up. I felt no pleasure in it, but I felt no regret either. I pulled out my phone. I opened my photo gallery. I had taken pictures of all my payment confirmations before organizing them digitally, just in case. I scrolled through them. Mortgage payment, confirmed. Electric bill, confirmed. Water bill, confirmed. Over and over and over, 6 years of proof. I closed the gallery. I finished my beer. I went inside. I did not know if I would ever show anyone those records. Maybe I would. Maybe I would not. But I had them, and that was enough. For the first time in 6 years, I was not the invisible provider. I was not the backup plan. I was just Nathan, and I was finally free. The panic would come. I knew it would, but it was no longer my problem to solve. I had solved enough. The collapse happened faster than I expected. 5 weeks after I left, my phone exploded with calls. It started with Mom. 7 missed calls before I finally answered. "What?" Her voice was shaking. "Nathan, the power's off. The electric company shut it off. They said the bill has not been paid in 42 days. I need you to call them." "I am not calling them. You are the homeowner. You call them." "I tried. They want $680 to reconnect. We do not have it." Then you should not have let it get shut off. She started crying. Nathan, please. It is 90 degrees outside. Your father has a heart condition. We cannot live without AC. You will figure it out. How can you be this heartless? I learned from the best. I hung up. Dad called 10 minutes later. His voice was hard. You are going to fix this. Now. No. You are going to let us suffer because you are throwing a tantrum? I am not letting you do anything. You made choices. Now you deal with the consequences. He said something else. I did not hear it. I hung up. Kevin called that night. His voice was different. Tired. Nate, this is getting bad. The mortgage is 2 months overdue. The bank sent a notice. They are starting foreclosure proceedings. How much do they want? Almost $5,000 to bring it current. Late fees. Everything. Do you have $5,000? He paused. No. Then sell the car. He went silent. You cannot be serious. A $42,000 car versus losing the house seems like an easy choice. That car is mine, and the house is theirs. But I guess priorities are clear. He hung up. I put my phone on silent. I went to bed. Over the next 2 weeks, the messages piled up. Texts, voicemails, emails. Mom sent a long email detailing everything that was going wrong. The power had been off for a week before they scraped together money from Uncle Ron to get it reconnected. The water bill was overdue. The HOA sent a lien notice for unpaid dues. The mortgage company scheduled a foreclosure auction for 60 days out. She ended the email with, I hope you are happy. You are destroying this family. I did not reply. Dad left a voicemail. His voice was defeated. Nathan, I know we did not do right by you. I see that now. But this is not the way to handle it. Please. Let us talk. Let us fix this. I deleted it. Kevin sent a text. They are talking about selling the house, downsizing to an apartment. This is insane. I wrote back. Sounds like a plan. The final call came from Mom on a Tuesday night. I was watching TV. I almost did not answer, but I did. Nathan. What? Her voice was hollow. Your father had a panic attack today. The stress, the bills. He ended up in the ER. They kept him for observation. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Is he okay? Physically, yes. But Nathan, this is killing him. It is killing both of us. You should have thought about that. She was silent. How much did we hurt you? Enough that I would rather watch everything fall apart than keep pretending I do not exist. I am sorry, I did not see it. I should have. I am sorry. It is too late for sorry. She started crying. What do you want? Tell me, what do you want from us? I do not want anything. That is the point. I do not want anything from you anymore. So you are just going to let us lose everything? You lost me first, she sobbed. Please, Nathan, please. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up. I sat there in the silence of my apartment. The TV played in the background, some sitcom, canned laughter. I did not feel victorious. I did not feel vindicated. I felt tired, but I also felt something else, something I had not felt in years. Peace. The house would sell. They would downsize. Kevin would maybe learn what sacrifice felt like. Dad would recover. Mom would survive. They would move on. And so would I, without them. The phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. This is your cousin Jenny. I heard what happened. I just want you to know I get it. You did what you had to do. I stared at the message. I did not reply, but I saved it. Because sometimes one person understanding is enough. 3 months later, the house sold. I did not hear it from my parents. I heard it from a real estate listing website I had been monitoring. The sale price was $310,000, enough to cover the mortgage, back taxes, and HOA liens with a little left over. I did not ask where they moved. I did not call to check in. I assumed they found an apartment, somewhere smaller, cheaper. Kevin stopped texting after the second month. The last message I got from him was simple. I get it now. I am sorry it took this long. I did not reply. Maybe I would eventually. Maybe I would not. My life moved forward without them. I got a promotion at work, senior financial analyst, a $15,000 raise. I moved to a bigger apartment with 2 bedrooms, one for sleeping, one for an office. I started going to therapy. My therapist, Dr. Patel, asked me in our third session if I felt guilty. I thought about it. No. Why not? Because I gave them 6 years. They gave me a $25 gas card. She nodded. That is a fair assessment. I kept going to therapy. I worked on setting boundaries. I learned to recognize when people were using me. I learned to say no without feeling guilty. It felt strange at first, like I was being selfish. But Dr. Patel reminded me, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. I started dating, nothing serious. Just coffee dates, dinners. I met a woman named Claire at a work conference. She was funny, smart. She worked in marketing. On our third date, she asked about my family. I kept it brief. We are not close. She did not push. That is okay. Family is complicated. I appreciated that. By the 6-month mark, I had saved $30,000. Money I would have spent on mortgage payments and bills. I used some of it to take a trip to Colorado. I hiked in the Rockies. I stayed in a cabin with no cell service for 5 days. It was the most peaceful I had felt in years. When I came back, there was a letter waiting for me. It was from Mom. I stared at the envelope for a long time. Then I opened it. The letter was short. Nathan, I know I cannot undo the past. I know I failed you. I hope one day you can forgive me. Not for my sake, for yours. I love you. I always have, even when I did not show it. I read it twice. Then I folded it and put it in a drawer. I did not write back. Not yet, maybe someday, but not today. I stood on my balcony that evening. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. The city stretched out in front of me. I thought about the last 6 years, the basement, the bills, the invisibility. I thought about the person I used to be, the one who stayed silent, who paid without question, who believed being dependable meant being forgotten. That person was gone. I was still dependable, but now I was dependable to myself first. I pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app. I looked at my savings account, $32,478. Not a fortune, but mine. I closed the app. I finished my coffee. Tomorrow I would go to work. I would call Claire and maybe plan another date. I would keep building this new life, a life where I mattered, where my worth was not measured by how much I gave, but by how much I valued myself. I took a deep breath. The air was cool. The evening was quiet. And for the first time in 29 years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Home, not in a house, but in my own skin. Finally free. Finally whole. Finally Nathan.